Good evening. Laura Donnelly here from Dancing with Ease, Body Brain Balance. And today I was going to talk about the dreams we have of the things we want to do and build and make and create, and the resistance that often pops up. So recently, I read something somewhere, and somebody said that the stronger your desire for your project, the bigger the resistance jumps up at you. And how the resistance seems is all kinds of why you can't do something or why you can't start. And so it can be, hey, Mary, great to see you. It can be just as simple as wanting to start an exercise program, and then it's raining and you don't want to go outside, and then it's too hot or it's too cold, or your favorite show is on the TV or the computer or whatever, or somebody calls you and so you want to stay and talk on the phone. And all of these things that interfere, that you allow to interfere, could also be stuff like suddenly you have to do some chores around the house, and so you can't go do your regular walk or whatever you wanted to do. These things that pop up, they're they're resisting the desire. It's like we are our own adversary in a way. The things we want to do are right there, and we can pretty much see them. And then suddenly there's a million reasons not to do them. Sometimes we share an idea with a friend, and they are like, "Well, that's a crazy idea," or "Why would you want to do that?" Or "Did you think about all these things that could go wrong?" Well, of course you did, because you did. But that's not the good person for you to talk to about your idea. Now, you don't want to talk to somebody who's going to encourage you to do, to jump off a cliff. Okay, that's not a great supportive friend either. But somebody who's able to listen to your idea and say, "Okay, that sounds doable. What's the first step? And can I support you in the first step?" And then if you have more resistance, if you have somebody who's supporting you in the first step, and you still make things in the way, that means that there is a tension inside of you with the desire for what you want to do and the pressure not to do it, not to change. Because everything we do causes us to change. And when we change, we're different. And a lot of times we really there's something we like about familiar and comfortable. Think about if you have a favorite pillow, and you're going to go on a trip, and you take your pillow with you because you sleep better on your favorite pillow than you do on any pillow in the hotel. Now, I don't know that there's a lot of value in sleeping on different pillows, but this is one of those things. I have a pair of shoes. I need to go buy some new shoes. My shoes are wearing out. I have 2 pairs of tennis shoes. They're kind of wearing out. I hate to shop. And and shopping for shoes is the easiest thing to do, because you don't have to take off all your clothes. You don't have to pull your shirt on and off your head. You can just slip the shoes on and off and try them on. But I did once, leave my pillow behind in the hotel. And fortunately, they didn't throw it away. And I realized it within about 2 hours, and I wasn't very far away. I was in an area so I could go back and get it. But that was kind of a drag. And I was going to say the whole idea of if we look at the resistance as a friend for ourselves, how can this resistance be helping me? What is it alerting me to that I might not be looking at? Is there a way to get my resistance to come along with me? Now, the whole idea of resist, is if someone's pulling you in some direction, you pull backwards and try not to go. I get the picture of the donkey that sticks its feet out and the person's trying to drag it forward and everything. And it's just like stubborn, stopped. So having the desire to achieve something and trying to push through the resistance is like setting up that whole tug of war with the donkey. And think also about playing tug of war with a dog, right? You're pulling, the dog's pulling, you're pulling, the dog's pulling, you got hold of the rope, it's going back and forth and everything. But if you suddenly go in the direction with the dog, they're startled, and a lot of times they open their mouth and you get the tug of war rope. Sneaky. So how do we do that with the things we want to do? And how do we work with the resistance? Because it is possible to let the resistance be there and not fight against it. So I've been thinking about dreams a lot because my friend Ione came on and last Sunday, and we talked about dreaming and healing in dreaming. And one of the things that I used to love that she said is that this is a dream. All of this, is a dream. It's consensual. It's a consensual dream. She said, it's the consensual dream of reality, or the dream of consensual reality. Sort of. So you can play with the words. So sometimes I like to look at the things I'm pushing and pulling against in my life, what I want to achieve, and what feels like impossible to move forward on. Maybe it feels like I'm trying to move forward in mud and the mud's trying to hold me back. Or maybe it feels like I take one step forward and then two steps back. I might design a business card and get it, ordered and everything, and then the address needs to change, or I need a different phone number, or something like that. So that can make us feel like out of step, out of sequence, out of our comfort zone. And so if we look at this little adventure, say it's like you just feel like you're slogging through mud and you can't get any momentum and you can't go forward. And even when you try to step forward, the mud holds onto your foot and pulls your shoe off. And so suddenly you don't have your right tools and equipment. And this in a dream, you can just like, okay, so if this is a dream, then you have some freedom to play. And you can get a little distance from it, from your thing, your situation. And you can ask this dream of me slogging through the mud. What is the mud? Just ask the dream the question, and then you just like see what pops into your head. Now, what just popped in my head here? So this is another made-up dream. I made up another dream a little while ago, a few months ago. I made up another dream. But so then I got this idea that the mud is the clay out of which we can make things. That it's actually, it's messy, it's gooey, but think about throwing a pot on a wheel. That clay is soupy and slippery and messy, and your hands get all messy, and the wheel is messy, and the clay goes everywhere, and then you have a pot. So that's a whole different idea for me to think about, that the mud, the stuff that I feel like is slowing me down, is perhaps the material out of which I am making this new thing that I want to create. Okay, then it's very ineffective the way I'm trying to move through that, marching through it and losing my shoe in the mud and all of this, and it's not working. Well, so if this is kind of a creative stew pot, I ask another question: how can I work with that creative material in a different way? And then I just kind of start to open this up and free up the energy, because when we get in a resisting place, either we're pushing against something and it pushes back just as hard, or we pull and it pulls. And can you see that both of these things, pulling apart from something and pushing into something, hold us static? And so that's my idea, is that our idea of resistance is what holds us in place, not the resistance. And if we start to move differently, right? So then we have this idea too, like, I need to go this way, right? And my resistance is here. And if I stop trying to go this way, the resistance is going to push me down. Will it really? Do you know that? What if when you stop pushing, the resistance stops pushing? And then you can just be there and look at the energy. So, a while ago, I read this book, The War of Art. It was just kind of a funny name play on the Art of War book. But the author, whose name escapes me at the moment, was saying that almost instantly, with the generation of a creative idea, a new project, a new activity, just the recognizing of that idea brings up the resistance. So my idea is, what if the resistance is part of the idea? What if the resistance is there to make my idea stronger, to make my idea more effective and more clear? What if it's not my enemy, but my partner, right? My partner that I can dance with, that I can use, because usually the resistance is really strong. So if I could use that strength to build my new idea. Stephen Pressfield, yes. Mary, you're on it tonight. Woman, you're right on it. So that changes everything. If I think I can dance with my resistance instead of pushing against my resistance, that opens up a whole different kind of possibilities for me to move and to work and to move forward still, without having to drag at the thing that's trying to pull me back or bust through a wall. These things, if I back out a little bit, if I talk to them, I can shift them in a way that allows me to work with them instead of working against them. And it allows them to support me instead of this feeling that they're holding me back. Because really, even things that we don't ever need in our lives anymore, attitudes, behaviors, habits, those things arose in the beginning as something that helped us. It wouldn't have become a habit if it hadn't been useful time and time again. And just because it's not useful now doesn't mean that it wasn't useful then. And doesn't mean that we might not need that skill in the future. So if we just talk to it and say, hey, I need to try something else. You want to come along and see what happens? And then give it a go. Because I think that there are as many ways to achieve a goal as there are goals. It's It's okay. Now I'm going back to the healing path with the image of the wheel, and that the goal is the center, and that all of the spokes lead to the center. And the outside of the wheel is where we live, that consensual reality. And the spokes are ways, journeys, healing modalities that we can use to come closer to ourself, to our true self, and our purpose in being here. And so if we have resistance, maybe the resistance is trying to get us to pick a different spoke. Maybe we have an idea of which spoke is the shortest one to the center. But maybe we need a slightly different road, and our resistance is trying to get us to move around the hub and take a different path. Then it's working with me, not against me. And I can work with it, not against it. And so, those are my thoughts for today on dreams and goals and resistance and kind of easily giving into the tug of war. When you're playing with your brother or something when you were a kid and you're playing tug of war, there was a way to let go of the rope that made him fall down on his bottom. And there was a way to let go of the rope that still gave you that energy and that dropping out of the tension of the pulling without knocking him completely over. So we have these degrees of choice. So it's great to see you, Mary. And if you guys play with these ideas, let me know what happens. I'm always looking forward to hearing what's happening, how you explore your life and your journey. And if you have any highlights or signposts or potholes, let me know, because those are all important pieces in our own healing journeys, our individual healing journeys. So take good care. Have a wonderful evening. Did I tell you it was day 188? I think I'm going to have some kind of party on day 200. Start thinking about this. Put notes in here if you have an idea of how to have an online party at day 200. And we'll think about that. Take care. Bye-bye.